In this section of the DVD, I've picked out 5 of my personal favourite magic filter shots to talk about briefly. These aren't shots from the shoot you saw recorded, but I think they all raise interesting points about filter photography in general. This first picture was taken at Rowlands, Mohamad when the boha snappers were present. This picture was taken around midday. I know this because on all the sites that I dive regularly with a filter, I really know exactly where the light's going to be at any particular time. And at Rowlands, Mohamad, around midday, the light is streaming down the face of the reef, allowing you to take these shots with all the anthias and all the soft corals lit up. And if the fish schools are hanging off the reef, the light's right on them. Makes it a great time of day to dive there with a filter because as you swim down the reef, every time you aim out at the schools in the blue, they're all lit up nicely with the light. I think this shot makes a great benefit of the way colour penetrates deeply into underwater photos taken with filters. The fish in the foreground, these lovely yellow goatfish, are nicely lit up and illuminated. The reef itself has got colour, and even the school in the background of boha snappers, there's pinks and things coming through from their coloration in the background. And I think that really creates a fantastic sense of atmosphere that you wouldn't get in a flash photo. And that for me is really one of the best uses of the magic filter. This was taken with a 12 to 24 lens, which isn't a lens I use all that much with filters, but I particularly like this shot. The next one in our selection is sort of a classic reef wide angle, making the most of filters. Coral gardens, as I said in the main video, are really one of the best places to take filter photos. And particularly, this is taken here at Sipadan, and particularly somewhere like Sipadan where you've got so much life up in the coral gardens. Not just the small fish, but also big creatures like turtles coming through, sharks, the humphead parrotfish. All these creatures up in the coral gardens make for great filter photography, and you can capture this sense of atmosphere, but also showing the animal in its environment, in this case the green turtle, and showing it in that environment. The way the colours are nice and bright in the foreground and they fall off through the picture, I think really makes this a stunning image. Actually, this picture I probably shot at slightly too wide an aperture. I was shooting on shutter priority and wasn't paying enough attention to my apertures, and I think this is shot at about f5.6 with a 16mm fisheye on a DX sensor on my D2X on a small sensor digital camera. And actually the corners are just beginning to go a little bit soft on this one, particularly these corners very close to the lens. And I think if I'd used a setting of around about f8, these would have been nice and sharp, and I think that's one area I should have been careful of. And I think on a more modern digital camera, I'd have upped the ISO a little bit, shot at ISO 400 or even 800, and had these corners pin sharp at the aperture and shutter speed that I wanted to use. But nonetheless, I think this is a really nice picture, and it's a great use of the filter, getting this lovely colour penetrating and deep into the picture. Next up is a more creative image. This is a picture I took in Thailand earlier this year, and it's a shot I've been trying to get for a long time, but never quite been able to get my settings just right. Ever since I started available light underwater photography, one of the images I've had in my mind is a still life image of the reef with all the fish above the reef all blurred with movement. I think movement shots tend to work best when you've got a mixture of sharpness and blur in the same shot. We can do this easily with flash photography, but obviously the sharp areas of the image are always very close to the camera and the blur then extends away behind. Here it's kind of the other way around, and I really like that. You've got the reef, which is perfectly in focus from the foreground right through to the background. And then you've got this flowing river of fish coming over the reef above it, all blurred. And I think this is a really interesting use of the filter. And I mean, for me, filters are such a new technique in underwater photography. There's so many new ideas to try. And this, for me, I just feel I'm scratching the surface of the new types of images we'll be able to take with filters. And it's just really a case of, seeing what other people are doing, because there's a lot of people out there shooting great filter shots. And working through ideas myself and trying to get inspiration to come up with new types of underwater pictures that this technology, however basic our sweet wrappers may be, allows us to take. The penultimate shot is a wreck shot. I had to get a wreck shot in. This is another one from Abu Nuhas with Peter in it here. I think filters really, some of the best filter shots are the wreck shots, particularly when you can capture these large sections of superstructure with all the colour and just the way they loom out of the blue. A lot of underwater photographers say to me now, who are big fans of filters, that when they look back at their old pictures taken without filters, where the wreck was blue and the sea was blue behind it, They're nice atmospheric shots, but they just look so dated now. I think this look has become much more the contemporary look of wrecks, where you can really get that definition. The wreck just stands straight out from the background. You see the colour, and this is exactly how it looks when you go down there. The wreck looks like this. It's just when you take a picture without a filter and it came out all blue, that was what we accepted was the underwater photo. But now we can take pictures which are much more like the experience, and I think particularly for non-divers, these communicate the wreck dive much more accurately than the old blue shots used to. And the final shot is a compact image. This is a shot of a Napoleon Wrasse playing with the compacts, and this was taken at Ras Mohamad. I have to say that this particular year at Ras Mohamad on the video, we weren't particularly lucky on the dives that we chose to do the filters on. Obviously we had amazing encounters during them, but some of the creatures that I would sort of regard as regulars at Ras Mohamad weren't really showing up for us. Particularly things like the Napoleon Wrasse. Actually on a couple of the filter, I think both on the filter dives, other photographers in our group were working with the Wrasses at the time, so we weren't able to go in and get shots like this. And I really just wanted to show this shot because I really like it. It captures a lot of personality, it's got great eye contact, and I love the way the filter has brought out the coloration, both on the lips and also right up here on the top of the head there. Really captures it, and the fact that it's set in this lovely environment, you can really see the environment in which the Wrasse lives in. So I like the fact that although filter photography is generally a wide angle technique, you can still, with the right subjects, sort of do a cheeky fish portrait or something else. Really the types of shot you can take with the filter are limited only really by your imagination, the way you can apply the filter to the different types of underwater photos out there. Anyway, that's about it for my top 5, so hopefully that's been something of interest.